Why I've achieved 14 leads in 3 weeks on LinkedIn without any sales pitches, paid ads, or direct messaging, unless they've contacted me first. In my early days utilising LinkedIn, I used to connect with individuals who didn't know me, and this was just to try and build my brand and the company I worked for's brand. And what did that guarantee? A bunch of likes, a bunch of reshares, and a load of comments, sometimes from my dad. I think he's on LinkedIn. Anyway, people like my colleagues, folks that I'd met on my travels, and that one guy that was desperate to supply to your company. We've all been there. But since starting Elevate Small Biz, I've had the opportunity to put my proven strategy to the test. And in the last 13 weeks, I've managed to generate 14 qualified leads without ads, spam, or spending hours cold messaging. It wasn't until I got my first lead almost 4 years ago. I remember it well. I'd been posting specifically about our blast and paint services for the company that I worked for at that time. And then I got a ping. Somebody had been watching what I'd been doing and they had liked it. Now, I'd been posting about these blast and paint services for a number of months, showing jobs that we had complete, before and afters, giving a bit of insight into the type of blasting and painting that we could do, and giving a lot of case studies and really pushing this hard. I didn't know I would get an outcome from it because I had never had a LinkedIn lead. But at this time, I had been pushing the blast and paint service so high that we ended up being at the top of Google if you typed in blast and paint services. So you can imagine my delight when I got a message from somebody saying, Nathan, could you come out and price up a refurb job on a couple of our units that we have? Folks, I'm here to tell you, you need to start thinking about LinkedIn differently. You need to have a different mindset. You need to start looking at LinkedIn like the free conference that it is, unless you're paying premium, of course. Every single day, your ideal clients are walking through the door, and you've got the chance to start a conversation or speak in front of any of them. The problem? Most people are standing in the corner, not engaging, hoping someone walks up to them first. So when you go to an event, what are you looking to do? You're looking to connect with individuals, you're looking to speak to them about your product, and you're hoping that you'll make a new connection that will ultimately help you grow your business. Before the conference, what do? You go through all the contacts that are going to be at the show, all the exhibitors, and you make a strategy of who you want to speak to, and you try to reach out to them prior to arriving at the conference to set meetings up. Because if you just go blindly to the conference, what is the chance that you're going to bump into the individuals that you were hoping to speak to? Very small. And when you get there, you've got your pre-arranged meetings. You're then looking to speak to exhibitors or anyone else that might be there to set up a meeting. And then when you leave the conference, what's the number one thing you're going to do? You're going to follow up. You're going to make a connection. You're going to drop them an email, speak to them on the phone. You're going to quantify the lead in your CRM system. So why do we treat LinkedIn any differently? When you go to a conference, the number one thing that you would want to do is get an opportunity to speak in front of all your peers. Well, LinkedIn gives you that opportunity to do so. You can connect with the right individuals, then you get an opportunity to speak in front of them by creating content that matters to them and is specific to what they do as a company. And this is no different if it's B2C, business to consumer, or business to business. Business to business, you are looking to target individuals that work at that company. You then put content in front of them that encourages them to come to your company. Business to consumer is no different. You are connecting with your ideal client, and we will have a session on that as part of our mastermind that we will do in the next couple of weeks. Once you've made your ideal client and decided who they are, you then have the opportunity to connect with them, and then you can speak in front of them by creating content that makes a difference to them. And the key here is, once you have connected with them, not only do you want to put content in front of them, but would you ever connect with somebody at an event, hand them a business card, and say nothing? No. So why, before I started my business, did I do a test where I sent over 100 connections to small business owners? Each one of them connected with me. Why? Because they're looking at me and thinking I could be a potential customer. But did any of them engage with me? Not one. None of them. Now, the worst thing you can do is send a sales pitch. It gets you nowhere. But if you've built up content for a number of weeks, you then know that they've seen that by looking at the impressions that you've had. You can then drop them a message about something that's maybe difficult in their industry, something they might be having problems with, and how you can be the problem solver for that. But again, how do you connect with the right people, I hear you ask? Well, again, we're going to do a session on this in the masterclasses that I'll be producing in the next couple of weeks. Please keep an eye out for the waiting list that we'll be releasing. That's the shift. It's not about just posting and connecting. The key that people are looking for nowadays is somebody that's an expert. And I've produced enough content in the last couple of weeks that I've made people think that I'm an expert. Let people know that I am an expert in LinkedIn lead generation. Hence the reason they're contacting me without me having to contact them. And that's how we generate traction, not just noise. Elevate small biz. You run your business, we help elevate it.